Oh, hello! I am a couple minutes early, so I'm just gonna go and grab the giant bag of wonderful clothing as well, and I'll be right back. 1 minute, we'll start. 1 minute. Look at this. Day 2 of this. Ah, yes. Ah, yes. Hello, hello. I'm so excited about going through this bag again. Okay. Ones we saw yesterday already. Put them to the side. Okay, it is 11:30 every night, so it is awesome to be back. It is Anto right here. Nice to see you again. I'm wearing my Be Awesome shirt. I'm feeling pretty awesome, as well as I was feeling pretty stressed earlier today as well. So it's nice to be able to feel both and to experience both and to be able to express that to the people who are here and listen to what it is that I have to say in that way. I really appreciate that, to be able to be myself in that way. It doesn't always have to be putting on a show, which I also love doing. But I also enjoy the fact that I can just be like, yo, shit's tough today. That was like an intense day, you know? So being able to have both all the time, that just makes me feel really grateful and really excited, and that keeps me focused. And the goal is to be able to bust one of these out every single day, you know, like keep it consistent. And that's one of the most important things of all the challenges that I've done this year. So as I had mentioned yesterday, I did, this is my 4th challenge this year. I did the 21-day meditation challenge in February, and then in April, I did the 30 days of poems every single day, which honestly, I think are still guiding me right now, you know, like figure that out, you know? So around there. And then now this is the 4th one. And this challenge, I think, might be one of the hardest ones because it's like in public, it's like open, and we're like sharing it all the time. So I really appreciate it. I feel like this whole year it's just been building up towards this type of like mindset to be able to like actually share all the knowledge and the emotions and experiences that I'm going through now. So it is wonderful though to be able to actually have that openness and to be able to just be candid and like honest about what I'm experiencing. And yeah, I love that part of my life now. It's like I always talk with my friends about this, the growth mindset. It's like everything is not as challenging when you think about it as lessons, you know, because lessons, when you're going through something and you're like, oh man, this is so hard. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to go like through this. I'm like experiencing such like pains. I don't know what's happening. And then you're like, there's lessons in this, you know, and those lessons lessen the pains of that, what you're going through at that time. So, you know, I really appreciate like, you know, words that share messages that way. You know, I always feel that and I always appreciate that. So that's been a great experience for me. And this year it's been like just filled with lessons, connecting to growth, focusing on like being able to see the work that I'm doing and how it's like affected the rest of my life, you know, and to be able to be at the point where I am now and being like, yo, this is like hard, but I'm doing it and I'm working through it. And when I'm not able to do that, I just take the time that I need, or I ask for space, or I'm like, hey, I'm not like feeling it today, you know? So being able to actually have that and be honest about that is just I feel like that's a power, like superpower in terms of what it is that we're able to connect to, you know, you're figuring it out as you're going along. And that's one of the most beautiful parts of it. So today I have some wonderful things that I've planned. I'm going to do this. I'm actually going to share a little bit of my vision board. I also have the wonderful sack of goodies of my grandma's clothes, my pawpaw, when she had passed. Like, there's a lot of clothing that that they were gonna just donate, and then so I was just seeing if anybody out there is like maybe wanting a piece or two. But also, I just love going through it because I just imagine my pawpaw like wearing it and how cute she was in it, and just some memories of her and stuff, like being in her home now, you know. know, it's just been so beautiful to be able to be a part of, like, it feels like I'm here with her and the family and all that goodness. So, and then I also, of course, I'm going to share some poems and some puns. As you, like, yesterday, man, I had so much fun just going through some old puns that I had written and just like laughing about them. And like, they always make me laugh, you know, and it's one of my favorite things about like writing. It's just like wordplay and making jokes and being silly at that. And then I have actually a story that I wanted to share about like my experience at Hillside. So I'll be sharing all these things. And one thing that might happen is I might forget about them. So I'll try my best. I'll list them out and I'll see how well that goes. So let's just, the first thing, just to keep it consistent. Yesterday I started with the clothing out of the bag. Just try and go through here. Let's see if we got some interesting items here. So let's see. Firstly, I like this color. I don't know if you could see it. It's actually a purple. It's a purple. Yeah. And it is like old. Look, it's been washed so many times you can't even see any. It's like super old school. And then it's got like the buttons there too. I like this one. It's pretty cool. Purple, nice stripes this way. That's great. Oh, this one looks nice. I don't know what kind of material this is. It is beautiful. It is Orlon acrylic. It is a jockey shirt. It is beautiful. Oh my gosh, it's so nice. And it's got buttons too, just in case if you couldn't see that. You got buttons here. Okay. That one's pretty sweet. I love this show and tell because I don't even know what's going on, like what's like in this. So, oh, this is like fancy. It's like a fancy sweater. That's like what this is. It's like a nice fancy sweater. See that? I should probably put them on a hanger. That would probably help this. So it doesn't even say like what type of material it is, but it just says Tokyo. Eve Tokyo. I don't know if you've ever, some old school. It's pretty awesome. Okay, we're gonna do two more. Let's do two more. Oh, nice little red sweater. This is sweet. It's like got the high neck here. I literally don't know fashion names or anything like that, but it's pretty sweet. And we got the little buttons here too. We got the buttons there. And then maybe it has a tag. What's the tag say? Alfred Dunner. It is a small and it is acrylic. Okay. I think that's backwards, but it's acrylic. And then finally, random bag goodies. We got pants, guys. We got some red pants. I don't know if you could see the design on that. Yeah, you could see the design on that. It's pretty sweet. These are like, these would go if they were in, if you had these ones in the Value Village or something like that. These would probably be like 10, 15 bucks on there, you know? So it's pretty sweet. I wonder if these are actually, like, if I could fit these. I like these pants, actually. This is like a challenge. I feel like I should like try these on and see if they actually fit. Oh my God. Okay, let's see. I feel like there's a big enough booty for this. Okay. I think the waist fits. Yes. Oh my gosh. They fit. It fits. That's amazing. I'm gonna totally keep these pants. They're so like retro, old school red. I love that. Oh man. So yeah, that is today's segment of random clothing that I found in my papa's closet that we were gonna get rid of. So if anybody has any of these items, if you wanted them, let me know. We're gonna be giving them as a donation. So we're gonna be passing those out. So yeah, this has been so fun. I love being able to see that. It also like reminds me of like her style, and like she had such impeccable style. Like she would always come in and there's just be so many different like clothing items that she would wear. She'd always look so cool, and everybody would just be like, wow, like what's Papa wearing and things like that. And you know, obviously like as she got older, she was more consistent with the specific items that she liked, but we always remembered like all the different like items that she had. And looking at her closet, it makes sense. She had like so many different like so many different like shirts, sweaters, pants, like all of this stuff that was just like so nice and different, like great brands and things like that. So it's always great to like think back to like our childhood and how sweet she always was. I always like look back to both my Gong and my Papa, like how wonderful it was to I actually lived with them for 2 years when I was in kindergarten, and that actually is one of the reasons why I love working with children. And it's amazing because I lived with them when I was right before I turned 4, and then when I turned 5. And so for those 2 years, it was like the most. They actually say in many of the early childhood education books that I had read in school and stuff, they actually said that the biggest part of like your childhood that impacts you in that way was between those ages of 3 and 5. And it's because like you're very conscious, but you're also like you haven't been hardened to a certain extent as much. You're like very much connected to your inner child because it's your outer child. You're so like you're not like striving to be like I'm an adult like as at that point yet. You know, when you get to like 7, 8, 9 age, you know, so like it really shaped like who I was and like the love that I received when I was that age with my grandparents, and some of the challenges that I had before that as well, leading up to that. And so for me, it was just like so beautiful now to be I'm working with 2 families, and the kids are 3 and 6 and 4 and 6. So it's actually right in the range of like the age that I was, you know, when I lived with my grandparents. So it's like their influence still is with me, like up to this day. Like I think about them all the time when I'm working with kids, and I think of how they would treat me and like the way that they honored like everything. Even when I was a kid, they would still like, you know, really listen to what it is that I needed, and they would ask my opinion, and I just felt like really seen and really like loved when I was with them. So I really always think of them when I'm working with kids and making sure that kids like feel like they're special, and we're listening to them and what it is that their ideas are great. And those are all very important, you know, to when you're working with a kid, is to just like adults too, but like we all want to just be seen. We want like our what it is that we're saying or our ideas to be like, oh, I'm actually listening and I'm here presently, like taking in the info that you're having. I'm not dismissing you, you know. And for children, it's like even bigger, because them wanting to just like have their opinions go through, people are just like, you're just a kid, you know. And so that's something that I really try to do. I really go down to the level when we're playing games and stuff like that. One of the boys that I'm working with right now is he's obsessed with memory. So every time that we hang out, we always play memory. And he's just turned 4. So he's like so good at memory. Like it's amazing to see. And I like win maybe 1 out of like 10 matches. And the best is last week he was so excited, and he was like, he beat me, and then he was like, oh yeah, I win, oh yeah. And then he like ran downstairs to like go announce it to his dad, and then go announce it to his mom, and he like runs back up the stairs, and I'm like, you shouldn't like go disturb them when they're working and stuff. And he's just like, I'm the winner, I'm so good. And then we played again. So we played another game right after that, and then he beats me again. Like he's just really, really great at memory. Like I don't know what it is. He just like is so on point with like finding them or whatever. And then, so he runs back down just as excited as the first time. Like it was not like he's experienced this before, so he's gonna be less excited. It's like just as excited as the first time. And then he runs down the stairs again. Oh yeah, and he's like dancing like to his dad. Runs over to the mom, busts in the door. And he's like, oh yeah, I win. I'm so smart. He's just like so hyped about it. He comes back and he's like dancing in my face. And then I'm like, all right, cool, like let's play something else, because I'm like, I don't want to just keep getting smoked by this kid. And then he's just like, no, memory again. And this we play like over and over, and it's just happening like all like over and over. And at one point, like I had to be like, yeah, we gotta stop, because like he just keeps going and disturbing like his parents, and like beat, like, you know, when he beats me. And when I win too, I try not to like celebrate as well. I'm not like in his face like being like, oh yeah, even though in my head I definitely am. I'm like, yo, oh yeah, in your face, you know, like I'm thinking this, but like I don't want him to feel like I'm like, you know, making fun of him or hurting him in that way, you know. So like I'm like, yeah, I win, you know. And then that's like I move on kind of thing. And then what happened was what I think one day though, it's going to be like 10, 15 years down the road, you know, he's gonna go to school and then randomly I'm gonna just show up one day, and then I'm gonna have a deck of memory cards, and then I'm gonna challenge him, you know, after all the years of like partying and college and like he's gonna smoke some spliffs and he's gonna like, lose his memory. Maybe he'll get a concussion or two, like I did, and like his memory's gonna be like damaged. And then I'm gonna challenge him, and then we'll be on like an equal level at that point, hopefully, because in 10 to 15 years, I'll still have like probably the same amount of memory that I have now, hopefully. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna challenge him, and it's gonna be awesome. I actually have my last day with them before the holidays. So it's going to be very bittersweet, like very Chinese fashion. We're going to give them lots of food items. So actually, I can show you the items we've saved. So we have these 3 items. So firstly, we're going to give them an entire thing of unsalted mixed nuts from Kirkland. Then I'm going to give them noodles. Yeah, that my dad bought. Awesome. And finally, this one's the best. If my sister's out there, sorry that I'm giving away your sweet, like, check this out. These goldfish, but they're like vanilla cupcake flavor. I've never had them, but I think the kids will enjoy that more than me. So that's like, and I'm going to obviously make them cards. So that's like kind of what I have. And I also was thinking when I return in the new year with them, that's when I'll bring them like the actual like personalized gift more. But this is just like, hey, I like care about you guys. You guys are the best, and I really appreciate that. So that's what's been really great in my life. Like being able to have that family to like be there to like I really connect to them well, and like the kids are really similar to me. They actually speak French, English, and Cantonese the same way as I do as well. So just like having that blew my mind. I wasn't even looking for a job like working as like a caregiver at this time, and like out of nowhere I got a message and they're like, hey, we speak these 3 languages too. We'd love for you to come in and like hang it. So it's just like serendipity like has its way of like taking things over, and it's really special in that way. And I'm always very appreciative of that. So oh yeah, so I have my vision board here, and I think that right here today I'm gonna actually, so this is the one part of it that I'm gonna share. So check this out. So this right here, you're a ray of sunshine. That's like sweet. I love that, right? This is like the family part of this is like familial connection. And here's like when my grandmother had passed too. And then you could see like there's a person behind here. There's a person behind here. And then there's the flowers in front. And it was like reminding me, being like, hey, like the flowers come first, and then like kind of like your ego and your like self like come second. You got to put your family there first. And then right here, it's like spending like time like creating with like musicians and that kind of stuff. Like that's like the family that I'm wanting as well. And then also like the feelings of like being like Wolverine, I think was like connected to like family. Sometimes I felt like, disconnected from like my family and stuff. And I'm searching for that, like the connection of my past and things like that, So that was always something that I had. And like, maybe I could show you it's a lot going on, right? So I just wanted to show you in sections. But this was like my so it has like, yes. So it's like my dreams and kind of like seeing like, the vision of like what we can do to like go out in outer space, and then actually like the preparation of it, and then the actual like taking off of it, So it's kind of like, honestly, this like reminds me of what we're doing right now. Is like I'm gonna have the idea of something, and it's gonna happen, and I'm gonna experience it. And then I'm just gonna like have to like prepare for it a little bit, and then like set it all up, and then the actual taking off of it. So like these videos are actually just like the taking off point. It's me like getting in this like the actual I was gonna say flying saucer, but sometimes I feel like that. Sometimes I feel like I'm actual alien in that way, but it's like the rocket ship, like jumping in the rocket ship and being like, I got to take off and I got to go in that way. And that's like part of the experience of it. You set yourself up, and then you think about it as like an idea first, and you're looking out at like all the people who might be doing something like that and seeing what that would be. And then you prepare for it, and then you take off. And like, that's part of like the beauty, I think, of like art as well. It's like you just are able to see what it is that you're wanting to create it as, and then you take the work, like put in the work, and you like see where that would be, and then the actual like show and like the experience of it, it's like the taking off of it. And one thing that wasn't actually shown there is the landing back, like you coming back from that. And that reminds me of when I actually went to Montreal and did my one-person show. the idea of actually like prep, like before that you're doing that and you're thinking of the idea, then you prepare for it, and then you like take off and you do the show. What I didn't account for was the actual landing after, you know, like when you return back to your life and your earth and all of that stuff, and the experience that you had, like that is so important to prepare for as well too, you know. And that kind of is metaphorically connected to what I feel like is happening right now, you know, like a couple weeks ago going through a breakup and stuff like that. It's like you don't think about the landing back down to like what your life is like when you're not inside of that relationship or you're not still doing the show, you know, all the preparation and all of the ideas and the work that you've done. It's just like the takeoff, and you're like hoping that you stay in space, you know, or taking off for as long as you possibly can. And then bam, like you just end up back in this space. And I think that that's part of the challenges of the changing of the seasons as well too, you know. Like it was right in time for from the fall into like the winter, and it was very beautiful in that way, you know, like the idea of connecting to the seasons in that way, being like, yo, I'm going through like massive changes of like, you know, my leaves feel like they're falling out, and like, you know, preparing for like winter and things like that. And I think that that's part of the beauty of living in Canada, is like we have so many of these seasons, and it also helps us acknowledge like how many layers that we have as well too, how many emotions that we have, how many different things that we experience all the time. It's like if I ran into a friend that I haven't seen in like 10 years or something like that on the street, and they're so excited to see me, and they're like, yo, like I can't believe I'm running into you, this is so great to see you, like what's been going on? And I'd be like, yo, I've been like going through it, man. I've like had such a challenge, like it's so challenging. I'm enlightened, like I'm feeling so much growth, I feel so much love, I like had so much despair, I like had so many like moments of just like struggle, and I'm so much excitement and feeling love and like gratitude, all of these different things. And then they're like, wow, that's like so great. And I was like, and that was just like this week, you know, that's like today, you know, like you go through so many things as a person, you know. And it's like that's the interesting part of it. It's like that's why I find it challenging sometimes for social media. It's like, how do we get to those how do you get to that depth? How do you get to those layers of yourself in such a short period of time to be able to show that? So then instead of us trying to dig through all of these different emotions or these pains or these challenges or these things that we've experiencing, we cut out all the stuff that isn't making us revered in that way. And then we end up like, what is it that we're left with? We're left with like a box that everybody else seems to be doing the same things of. So that's one of the most important things I think of what I'm going to be doing with these vlogs, is like really trying to connect to like what my authentic self is, what it is that I want to be putting out there in terms of my contents and my creation, is like connecting myself to like all the layers of myself, and acknowledging that they're all acceptable and they're all beautiful and they're all like I need to love all parts of myself in that way. So it's not just like putting on the face and the show in that way, as I've been trained, you know, like so much. It's also being like, yo, like I've been vulnerable and I've been hurt and I've been like, you know, disappointed and like just really questioning things, all this stuff. Like that's all part of it, you know? And so I'm just grateful to have a platform that I can do this, and to be able to be articulate enough that I can express that in my emotions and to be able to share myself in that way. So that's just something that I'm extremely grateful for. And just being present. That's one of the things that really challenges me, you know, just presence in that way, you know, taking that in for me, taking that moment. Cause it's like the centering of your actual, like, I'm going to talk about journey shit, but it's like when you're centering and connecting to like being grounded and whatnot, like to be able to actually like see that like on one side of this is like kind of like my career and like the way in which like I'm operating my art and things like that. And then the other side of the balance is going to be like my family and my friends and like the way that I'm loving and stuff like that. And like me as my center is like, that's the one, you know, like that's the actual base of this balance beam in this way that we're having, right? So like the balance as the Libra in that way, it's like kept being like so imbalanced because I'd have like so much work stuff, you know, and I'd have so much family stuff, and it always felt so heavy in this way. But then it's like it would tip, you know, like back and forth. But then like what I didn't realize was that like I kept like, you know, trying to put my feet on each side of it and be like, whoa, you know, it's like, okay, whoa. And it's like I was slipping. And then what ended up happening was continued to work on myself. I continued to work on my base. I continued to work on everything that I've been challenged with, and the pains and the emotions that I experienced, and like done all the work, like as much as I can so far, and keep doing, and being really growth minded in that way, and connect to the lessons that are being presented to me. And that's like this base that I'm creating. I'm really trying to like have my base not only as like the scale, but I'm also wanting to plant it inside of the ground and like have the roots go in, and like that's the growth, you know. And that those roots also is reminds me of like my ancestral connection, and the ways in which like the people, like the family around me, that's all like in the same area, we're all like growing in the same spaces. It's like how our roots like intertwine, and that's like our stories that are all intertwining and connecting, and like being able to actually have that gives me strength, you know, because that keeps me grounded. And you know, finding that being grounded is one of the most important things for my mental health. Yeah, that's been one of the biggest things that I've realized, healing, I would say. And that comes with like so much trauma healing, and like acknowledging like, you know, abuse and like pain and like challenges, all of those things, like that comes with like work, and that comes with being present with what it is that you're experiencing, you know. And even today it was so intense. Like I felt earlier, I was like, I need to like have like a really good cry. That's what I feel like I needed, you know. And it's just not something that I feel like I hear very often, like especially when me and my boys are hanging out. And so it's like, yo, you know what we gotta do? Yo, we gotta have a killer cry. Like that would be so dope. You know, like that's not like a normal thing that you. But like earlier, I just felt that, right? And I ended up like having a nap earlier. Bless the nap. I love that. And I slept, and I had a dream, and I was like at this like poetry show, and it was like so many of like my favorite poets were all there. I was there with my friends Silva and Annie, and it was just like so beautiful. And like I'm walking through this space, and I walk into a room that I'd done poetry before, of one of my favorite shows that I ever had. And I was so emotional in my dream, and I just like felt it. And I was like, I started crying in my dream, and I started like crying so much. And then all of these people who were walking by would come up and be like, are you okay? Like, is everything cool? Like, and I was like, yeah, I'm just like having a moment. And I just like, in the dream, I just kept crying and crying and crying. And it was like, as if that I said that I needed it earlier. And then it just like, my dream like gave it to me. And I just thought that I was so magical. And I woke up and I was like, wow, like, you know, maybe the challenges of having to cry in real life, it was like as if I was being alleviated of like the stress of like, okay, I gotta like force myself to cry. Like I'm like rubbing onions on my face, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna cry now. You know, like that I knew, you know, like I wanted to do like, you know, go to the window and like slowly turn, and then the blinds would close, you know, like as people are crying. Like I thought maybe that would induce me to cry. And it's like, no, no, no. Like my dream was like, I got you, you know, like my subconscious was like, don't worry about it. I embrace you. You could cry here. And it was just so like like magical. And I woke up and I was like, wow, like maybe that was the cry that I was like feeling I needed. So I really appreciated that. And yeah, it was really good. It was really good. So every single day, I am gonna go through, like I mentioned before, I'd done the 40-day, sorry, it was 30 days, April poetry, National Poetry Month. And so I'm actually gonna randomly find one of the poems, and I'm gonna share it. And so today it is, I randomly clicked day 7. So here we go. This is the one. And usually these ones always connect to what's going on at this time. So maybe that's what's going to happen right now. So I always love to see this. Day 7, National Poetry Month, that I had written. The study of humanity. We're observing, watching, viewing, journey accounted for, documentation trivialized, the actual experience, or it's capturing it, holding the moment in captivity if it's malintentioned. So we are learning of abuse, trauma, pain, seeing, creating how we do not want to be treated. Recreation is key, reliving, resolution, finding peace in the results, how far we've come, we've made it again and again. This is life celebrated. Finding fulfillment, meaningful figuring out, evolution through revolutions, Earth and moon rotate perfectly in synchronous harmony. Our observations seem stagnant. However, truth is, it's connected. The full rotation happens together, the reflection glowing among lights, the orb of endless illumination, balancing all the scales, our acceptances grounding everything we do, circumstantial situational events build the life that unfolds. How we figure control, setting boundaries, coming from a place of self-love builds the understanding how to treat others too. Compassionately, caringly, lovingly, grateful to be encountering, rotating on personal axis, coinciding coincidentally beside the supermoon pink, earth peeling, grief feeling, need healing. We can only do so much in one day, as we can only fill up so much on one page, as it all realigns, these signs that we find. Listening, reflecting, flowing movements. It helps ticking clocks become dusk's rise. Yo, this was for sure for today. That's crazy to see. Even earlier, I was talking about boundaries so much with my therapist, like every single, like, that's crazy. Like so many of the things, even earlier, the idea of setting boundaries was great. We were talking about the balancing of scales earlier as well too. We were talking about space and stuff. I was talking about Earth and the moon. Like there's so many things that are, and here, this part here too, the idea that I'm actually doing this, like we're observing, watching, viewing, journey accounted for. It's like the documentation trivialized. It's like my questioning of social media and like sharing this type of thing. So it's like holding the moment in captivity if it's malintentioned. And like, so the idea of what it is that I'm doing, as long as I'm coming from a pure place and like actually putting myself in the position to like care in this way and to love in this way, like that to me is special. And that to me is valuable and useful for me to be capturing it, instead of on the other side of it's like I'm putting on this show and like doing my best to like put on like, you know, my happy face in that way. I don't feel like it's going to be rewarding in the way that I'm hoping for this Vlogmas to be, you know? So that's one of the reasons why I thought that live was like the only way that I can do it, you know? Like for me, it's like the editing aspect of it is interesting, but like there's so many like little intricacies of myself that I feel like come out in the live aspect of creating. So I really appreciate that, that I'm getting this opportunity to do this, you know? So this poem, it's amazing though. Like so many times when I'm going through something, experiencing something, I just like go back to like April me, who was like, I felt like I was at one, like such a powerful place of where my consciousness in terms of like creating in that way. And it's like this messages that are just there for me. They're just ready for me to share. They're just exciting, and reading them over, I'm like, wow, this is like everything that's been happening today. And it's just set up so perfectly in that way. So man, serendipity truly exists. It is so, I'm grateful that like even my own words are like helping me heal in that way. And that's one of the most important things I would say through my mental health journey in this way. It's like, it's honoring like my strength and honoring the work that I'm doing and honoring the people that I'm surrounding myself with, just being so like, being like, yo, we're doing this. Like, and even earlier today, I was speaking to Jen about this. So she actually got me this Be Awesome sweater. And she actually said to me, like, she kept speaking with the word try. And, you know, I think that that's something that we definitely, a lot of us do. We're like, I'm going to try and do this. I'm going to try and do that. And it's like, she asked me, she's like, well, what word can we use instead of try, you know? And we just are. That's what it is. Like, that's the presence that people who are meditating are always like searching for. It's like, what are you searching for? It's like, I want to just like be, I just am this. We are this, you know? And that like type of strength and like that type of like focus, I think is like so powerful, you know? And to be able to be at that point. And so it's also like Yoda was talking about, you know, it's like, do or do not, there is no try in that way, you know? And that's part of the strength that we have. It's like, if we are doing something, we're not trying to do it. We actually are doing this. If we want to have a conversation with someone, we're not trying to get our point across. We are getting our point across, like whether it's to them or it's like through our actions, you know, like, so it is going to be happening and we are it. So that gives us so much strength, and that gives us like so much honoring of like ourselves and like loving ourselves in that way. So that's such an important part of what it is that we're doing. It's like, yo, you got to just like acknowledge that you are doing the work. If you're making the efforts to not just think about trying to do something, you are doing it. What is the preparation that you need to do? How much time and energy do you need to like do that before and prepare for that, and then step into like such strength when you are doing the things that you're needing to do? this is something that I'm continuously reminding myself of too. You know, it's and I'm not saying that I'm not feeling that way too. So oh, I want to try and do this, or but it's like I'm continuing to push myself to really think of it as like I am doing it, and I'm consistently like being in my growth mindset and being stronger in that way. And it's not like so much of this is work that you're doing out of these spaces. You're just like connecting with other people and sharing that, yeah. But like so much of it is like in solitude. So much of it is in writing. Like just like I had mentioned with this poem too. It's like that's what's so powerful about that moment was like so valuable and intimate and important to this moment now, but also at that time, I was probably healing and going through something as well I was needing to heal from. So that was like very important. So I really appreciate being able to share that with you guys as well as even with myself. I think I needed to hear that. So, okay. So philosophy, I love talking about philosophy, but I also love telling jokes. So here is the Confucius Say portion of our show. So this is always very enjoyable for me because I love jokes so much. So here we're gonna start with Confucius Say, I won the baking competition. It was a piece of cake. It's okay. It's okay. The fisherman got a partial refund. It was a rebate. Just in case for those people, like Bane, Coco, you got it. The sexiest side dish is the rice peel off. I like that one. That was good. Yes, that was good. I would help you escape, but my hands are tied. Yo, that one's like a whole scene. That one's like you're in a basement. You got gagging breath or something. You help you escape, but my hands are tied. I like that one. That one's good. I'm excited to invest money until I lost interest. Okay, that's pretty solid. Like okay. Oh, this one's coming up. So this is at the end of the year. I'm probably gonna do this one again later on because I like it so much. Here we go. So it's the Wu-Tang Clan makes New Year's resolutions. The resolutions. Okay. I don't know if I had to explain that. That's not always better to explain it, but just for those who didn't get it. And shout out to Jen for this next one. She helped me with this one as well back in the day. This one is Confucius Say, when I passed glass, I sharded. That one always gets me. That one is so funny. Oh my God. So gross. Okay. And then, all right, I'll do one last one because I don't know if I should end with like a sharded one in that way. That one's probably a little bit messed up. So here we go. Okay. The movie star who's the biggest thief of Spanish money is Robert De Niro's. That was just like solid. That's what it is. So it's interesting because half of this is just me enjoying jokes that I've written previously and all these works that I've experienced. But that's part of like what I love about being an artist is like I'm influenced by other artists so much too, right? So it's like it comes out in my art too, and I'm like, yo, these like it's like as if I'm getting to enjoy their art through me as well too, and like I'm so grateful for that. And yeah, it's been such a interesting experience being an artist during lockdown and stuff like that. Like as I used to do at least like 2-3 shows a week, and I'd be out in clubs or I'd be going and doing like a bar show or something or doing poetry, and we're putting on like producing shows at 1017 Gallery and stuff like that. Like we're doing so many different events, and then lockdown happened, and it's like it made me like completely change the way that I thought about we're not going out to venues and we're not having all these shutdowns and different things that are happening in that way. So it's just been such a change in me. And also even in the summer, I had 7 Cantonese weddings booked, and like all of them got canceled or pushed to next year. And like it made me quite like reflect on like, is hosting weddings like something that I'm wanting to move forward with, like, so this type of like constant, I guess, like questioning of our lives, but also just like accepting that this was a gift too. This was time that I needed. And so the way that I like to wrap these up is actually with that is to talk about growth in terms of like, what is the one thing that I've learned, another thing that I've learned in that. And I think that connecting it to the weddings and stuff is that it's okay to say bye. It's okay to say goodbye to things, and it might not be bye, but it's farewell and see you soon. You know, like, and that's what I feel like with weddings right now. It's like I'm really grateful that I had the opportunity. Obviously, I did it for 7 years. Every single summer, I was just like just doing so many weddings, up to like I think the most I did in 1 year was 12 weddings in the summer. And so just packing those in, and like, 2 years ago, I was doing all these weddings, and I was also doing like art fairs and things like that. So every weekend, pretty much, like I was just jam packed, and every single, like, it was just hustle, 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 hustle all week, and so for me, it's like this was a very different change. Like, it was a huge change of pace. It was also like making me connect to, like, you know, being inside a lot more, and like connecting to my writing and finding ways to be efficient, and like also seeing how much media I'm consuming. I'm on the internet all the time these days, and it's like trying to see if that's healthy or not. So for me, like, I think that's the growth that I've learned this year. Another one is really like, it's okay to like say goodbye to these things, because it welcomes time for other things. And I think that that's extremely important for us to realize, extremely important for us to like figure out, because if you're always holding on to everything that is just easy, or it's like comfortable, then you're not growing in that way. And that's like, that's the most important thing for me, is just like constantly thinking about growth, thinking about like what it is that I'm able to be able to take in that next step. And that's why this has been such an interesting challenge already. It's only been 2 days, and I'm realizing it's like there was fear, connected to this, and there was like, oh man, like worry of like what's gonna happen. Should I be doing this? And it's like, that's not the point of it. It's not should I be doing this. I am doing that. It's like, I'm not trying to do these. I am doing these, like I said. So that's gonna be part of my consistent growth in that way, is like to not be questioning so much in such like a judgmental way, I would say, and just more accepting that this is like the part of my life that I'm needing. So to actually close this out, finally, last thing is I actually was talking about meditation a little bit earlier, and I just wanted to just share really quickly. I've been using this app called Petit Bamboo, and they actually have like 3-minute meditations, and you just sit and basically connect to like the vibrations of that and the music of that, and they really help like calm me and help me with in terms of the actual experience of meditation. Because like I have challenges with it on my own, as you can see, like from this, it's like I'm bouncing all over the place. My mind is all these places. So to be able to find that groundedness in that way, so I'm grateful for that app, and it's been helping me out a lot. It is not a sponsored thing or anything. It's just like something that I've really enjoyed, and it's free in that way. So, but I always like appreciate finding new resources like that and just random things like that. So being able to have that, and that's what I'm actually going to go do after this, is I'm just going to take some time, meditate, process everything that I went through here, and just allow myself to take in like this day. It's been, a long day. There was multiple moments where I was like having a lot of challenges, and I was questioning a lot of things, and had a great chat with my therapist, Natalie, and just like the experiences of my life, and being able to open up to somebody like that is so valuable, so rewarding. Anybody out there who is questioning if they should be going to therapy or not, like definitely take that time and energy to like invest in that. It is an investment, but it is helped me in so many ways, and I'm really, 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 really lucky to have this life. So that's what I will leave you with today, is just being grateful for this experience, grateful for stepping into something that was scary for myself, and just pushing myself to continue to like get to those next stages. And honestly, like if I'm not feeling it one day and that's what's happening, I might not end up posting these, and that just means that like I'm truly present here with you because I'm actually wanting to do these. And that's what it felt like. Today it was like hard to like start it, and then here we are at the end of it, and I'm super grateful that I did it. So I really appreciate those who came to join and have listened, and those who are watching this a little bit later. I really appreciate you, and I'm really thankful that I got to like get so much of this off my chest. I got to share like this presence with you, and I'm probably gonna look back, and the things I said that I was gonna do earlier, I probably forgot one of them. That always happens to me. That's what goes on. But that's part of like the fun of it, and the jam that we got to enjoy. So see you later. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 11:30. Peace.